So in a snapshot, before I became a 6 times consecutive world champion surfer, I've had quite an interesting journey. And I think what's brought me to this particular moment where I've been a founder and director of my own foundation for over 13 years is a reflection. And it was reflecting on my life. So I grew up in Manly Beach, which is the most appropriately named beach in the world. I started surfing when I was 4, so I was immersed in a very male-dominated environment. I lost my mother when I was 6 years old, so I was brought up by my father and my brother. Even though I went to an all-girls high school, I still felt like I lacked that kind of nurturing and support from women that I needed. And I've always had male mentors, male role models, and a lot of male forces in my life. When I joined the Pro Tour, I felt like we lost the benefit of gender because women were so desperate to earn the recognition and support from their male counterparts. And so they acted like men, dressed like men, surfed like men. And so basically what I realised is I lacked female nurturing and mentoring and support. And having achieved my dream of becoming the most successful surfer in history, it made me realise that my journey may have been a little bit easier had I had that nurturing that I really craved. So I decided to create a foundation to prevent girls from having to endure that same level of hardship, financial adversity, setbacks and obstacles, and empower them to believe in themselves and cultivate self-confidence and the courage to ask for help. So through financial support and mentoring, Aim for the Stars has been able to change hundreds of women's lives. So since 2003, we've supported, I'd have to say, around 500 girls. We've provided over $900,000 worth of financial assistance and mentoring support. And the whole premise of Aim for the Stars is to empower and to enable girls to achieve their dreams. And after I won my 6th world title, I reflected back on a period of my life when I was working 60 hours a week in 4 different jobs, earning $8,000 a year, and I was number 2 in the world. And I'm thinking, why does it have to be so hard? Why is it when you're number 2 in the world, everyone says, you go for it, but they give you nothing? And when you become number 1 in the world, they like celebrate you, yay, and here's everything you need. But I needed it 2 years ago. I'm grateful that I have it now, but I actually needed it when I was on my way up. And so I decided to empower girls and tell them that I believe in them just by giving them financial support, a bit of mentoring, and calling them and saying, hi, it's Layne Beachley, I'm here to support you and I believe in you. And that changes girls' lives. So I'm really grateful that I have the opportunity to make such a positive and indelible impact in young girls' lives. We've had marine biologists, heart research scientists, body image activists, human rights lawyers, fashion designers like Therese Clemens, for example, who discovered that she loved sewing, and the reason that she did that was she had come from a pretty hard background, very abusive and violent. She used sewing as therapy, and she realised that she loved it and decided to go and invest in developing her skill, because she started out as sewing pyjamas, invested in her skill, and then became a fashion designer. And at our annual gala, I had her present her story to our audience, because we have one big annual fundraiser a year in Sydney. And when she presented her story, one of the directors of the BT Fashion Week happened to be there and asked her to present her fashions to the BT Runway for its Success event. So now, thanks to a grant from us, she was able to buy a sewing machine and buy enough material to then go and display her wares. So we're making an indelible impact in young girls' lives who have passion, initiative, drive, the courage to ask for help, and they become part of a sisterhood. They become part of a family where they become very supportive and encouraging of each other, which was something that I lacked when I was on the Pro Tour, because it can be pretty bitchy out there with women, right? So we can become pretty emotionally vindictive. And so when you see other women succeed, I want to put them on pedestals and say, I believe in you, I'm supporting you, I'm backing you all the way, and that's what Aim for the Stars does. So one of the biggest mistakes we made at the start was that we rolled out this fantastic initiative. Here's some money, here's some support, here's a world champion believing in you and supporting you, and then saying bye. So we've had to develop our alumni program. We've had to make sure that we maintain consistent communication with our girls and creating that network of support that goes beyond just the 12 months that they are aligned with us. So we've had really valuable learnings around that, creating that sisterhood, as I spoke about. Also, creating programs so when we bring them to Sydney, it's more than just meeting me and rolling them out for our supporters and our sponsors. It's actually making a more meaningful experience. The great thing is that they become a bunch of sisters. They become a support for each other. We had Caroline Buchanan, for example, who's a world BMX world champion and a mountain bike world champion. And she met another young girl who is a motocross champion, and Megan became a bit of a mentor for Caroline while Caroline was at the London Olympic Games. So it's great that they've created these alliances and these allegiances where they become supportive and nurturing of each other. So they're not just relying on me and my staff and the foundation to support them throughout their journey. Yeah, absolutely. It is always about the little things. You know, in corporate world we talk about the 1%ers. In the athletic world also we focus on those 1%ers. What are the little things that are going to have the biggest impact? And when I started Aim for the Stars, it was the little gesture of one of my employers saying, here's $3,000, here's your next round the world air ticket, I believe in you. And it was more the words, I believe in you, than the financial investment that had the most profound impact on me. Someone outside of my world who had taken the time to recognise that I was working really hard and then told me that they believed in my vision. My goodness, okay, I can re-believe it now. You know, because you start to lose that belief in yourself, and sometimes it requires the external validation of your own belief to reignite the passion for it. So Aim for the Stars is all about providing those little things. Yes, it's a financial investment, and yes, we provide you with a mentor, but it's also about that collaboration, that sisterhood, that knowing that there's someone there supporting you and believing in you and encouraging you, irrespective of what's going on in your life. We just want to see you fulfill your potential and achieve your dreams. And if nothing else, and if you fail to do that, we are just really grateful that we were a part of your journey. Our mission for Aim for the Stars is to become Australia's leading foundation that supports and empowers young women to achieve their dreams. When I started out, I think we only supported about 10 girls, and each year we've gradually increased those numbers. Now in our 14th year, we've been able to double our intake, or our opportunity to support many girls. So we've reached a point where we're now supporting about 40 young girls, which doesn't seem like much, but it's at the current rate that we're operating, it's a grand ambition to then raise it up to 100 girls a year by 2020. So we've got our work cut out for us as part of our long-term strategic plan. One of our biggest challenges is letting people know the absolute importance of our work and telling the stories of the girls who have applied for the grants and telling us about the success stories. There's been some failures. There's been some girls that have applied for grant and they've gone nowhere and done nothing with it. And that's as much of our fault as it is theirs, because we haven't engaged with them well enough. So there's been some incredible learnings. The key support we're looking for with Aim for the Stars is obviously financial, but we want people to come in and get involved. We need volunteers. We need people to actively fundraise for us, whether it's to run the City to Surf or hold inspirational morning teas at their workplace. We need to build our brand awareness. We need help in telling our girls' stories. We need to just get our story out there, because we're making an amazing difference to young people's lives. We're actually producing leaders. We're not giving people a step up and say, now go change the world. We're just giving them the opportunity to step up and fulfill their own potential in life. And that's enough for us. And so every girl that we help, she then goes on to support another girl. So every one of these girls, they demonstrate clearly how they're giving back to their local communities and the people that have supported them. Because if there's one lesson that I've learned throughout my career, is never forget where you come from and who's helped you along the way.
Work Club is not just a workspace. It's about creating experiences for our members that includes retail experience, that includes hospitality experience. If you work in isolation, you're less likely to find answers. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is there to create an experience that's second to none. Every piece of furniture in Work Club has got its story, and it's made by people who are passionate about what they do.
You come here, it's like got the charm. Every single one of my clients that comes in here is like, oh wow, you know.
It just really works for us. It's given a lot of actually strength to our brand when our clients come here.
You end up in the kitchen, around the cafe space as part of the Florence Guild event series. You end up having conversations with people who work in completely different fields.
The fact that you're staying for an event that's really going to get you to think differently and meet with people that are not just working here but also from other environments makes it a real reason to stay and spend the evening and connect with them and have great conversations.
All we could do was just try to create or curate a diverse group of people and then see what happened, and hopefully the space would create the foundation for that.